The vast stretch of space seemed peaceful. The alien fleet had been patrolling the sector for weeks without encountering any disturbances. Their ships, equipped with the latest technology and powerful weapons, cruised through the stars with calm confidence. For the aliens, this was their domain, a part of the galaxy they had kept safe for generations. But all that changed with a sudden alert. On the control panel of the lead ship, a flashing red light appeared. A soft, urgent beep filled the command center. The alien commander, a tall and serious-looking individual, glanced up from the tactical map in front of her. She quickly pressed a button to silence the alarm, then stared at the screen. The message that appeared made her eyes widen. It read, "Human war vessel enters the sector." At first, the commander thought it must be a mistake. Humans. They were a distant, primitive species, barely able to travel beyond their home planet. Why would a human warship appear in the well-guarded sector now? The idea seemed absurd. "Check the coordinates," she ordered her chief officer, her voice calm but filled with concern. The officer quickly typed in commands, and the map on the screen zoomed in on the location. Sure enough, a human ship was heading directly toward them. "We're not sure what it is, Commander," the officer reported, confusion in his voice. "It appears to be a human war vessel, but it's unlike anything we've ever seen before." The commander's mind raced. Was this an attack? Or had the humans finally advanced enough to challenge them? She knew one thing for sure. They couldn't ignore this. "Prepare the fleet for any situation," she ordered. "Get me a direct link to their ship. Let's see if we can communicate with them." Moments later, the view screen in front of her flickered to life. The face of a human appeared on the screen. He was calm, his features serious but not threatening. His uniform was simple, yet there was a certain confidence in his demeanor. The human captain didn't waste time with introductions. "This is Captain Derek Vance of the Starfire," he said in a voice that carried authority. "We are here on a peaceful mission. Do not engage us unless absolutely necessary. We wish to speak." The commander's heart skipped a beat. She had expected hostility, but the human was speaking as if he had nothing to fear. His message was brief, but it made her question everything she thought she knew about humanity. She looked at her officers, who shared the same mix of confusion and curiosity. "Peaceful." The commander muttered under her breath. "What do the humans want in our sector?" She turned back to the screen. "Captain Vance, you've entered a restricted area. State your intentions immediately." The human captain's eyes didn't flinch. "Our intentions are simple," he said. "To show you that humanity is no longer what you think. We are here to talk. Please do not mistake our presence for aggression." The commander took a deep breath, her mind still racing. Could this be true? Could the humans have become more than just a footnote in the galaxy's history? It was a possibility she could never have imagined. But now, the answers lay with the human ship, and she had to decide what to do next. The commander stared at the screen, her mind racing. Captain Vance's calm demeanor only made her more uneasy. She had expected a fight, but this human was different. He wasn't scared or aggressive. Instead, he spoke like someone who had nothing to prove, yet he was in their territory, an area carefully guarded by the alien fleet. What are they up to? The commander muttered to herself, leaning back in her chair. Her fingers drummed lightly on the armrest. She wasn't sure what to make of this situation. The humans were supposed to be isolated and weak. Their ships, until now, had been primitive compared to the advanced alien technology that ruled the sector. And yet, here was a human warship, advanced and bold, appearing without warning. She turned to her chief officer, a younger alien named Zarn. "Get a full scan of the human ship. I want to know everything, its weapons, shields, and its capabilities." Zarn quickly typed on his console, sending out a probe to scan the human vessel. Moments later, the results came back. The readings were unlike anything they had seen before. The ship had advanced shielding technology, far stronger than anything the aliens had. Its weapons were powerful, designed to obliterate anything in its path. But it was the human ship's propulsion system that stunned her the most. It moved faster than any of the alien ships in their fleet. "We've never seen technology like this," Zarn said, his voice full of awe and concern. The commander's gaze hardened. How did they achieve this? And why now? She knew that if the humans had advanced this far, it was no accident. They must have discovered something the aliens had overlooked. But that didn't explain why they were here, in the heart of the sector, uninvited. The commander needed answers. She couldn't afford to make the wrong move. "Prepare the fleet for all possibilities," the commander ordered. "We don't know if this is a trap or if they truly come in peace. Either way, we have to be ready." As her officers went to work, the commander stood up and walked to the viewing port of the command center. She looked out into the vastness of space. The stars twinkled in the distance, cold and distant. Somewhere out there, the human ship was waiting. She had never been this unsure about a decision. The stakes were high. If the humans wanted to make a move, it would be the perfect time. The fleet was spread out, their ships vulnerable. Yet there was something in her gut that told her to proceed carefully. The human captain hadn't acted rashly. He had come here for a reason. A quiet voice interrupted her thoughts. It was Zarn again. "Commander, I recommend we send a small delegation. We can meet them halfway and assess their intentions more closely." She turned to him. His suggestion made sense. A direct confrontation would be too risky, but getting closer to the human ship might reveal their true motives. The commander nodded. "Very well. Prepare the delegation. I'll accompany them myself." As the officers began to prepare the small fleet for the meeting, the commander felt the weight of her decision. She knew this was a critical moment. The humans had come, but for what reason? And more importantly, could they be trusted? The alien fleet moved slowly toward the human ship, keeping a careful distance. The delegation, led by the commander, was ready. It was a small group of ships, just enough to make a statement without seeming threatening. The commander stood at the front of her ship, watching the human vessel grow larger in the view screen. Despite her efforts to remain calm, a part of her couldn't help but feel uneasy. The human ship was massive, larger than anything the aliens had ever expected. The power it emitted was undeniable. Still, there was no sign of aggression. The human captain had kept his word so far, but could he be trusted? "Prepare to hail them," the commander ordered. Her voice was steady, though the tension in her chest was growing. "Channel open, Commander," said Zarn, her chief officer. The view screen flickered to life, and the human captain appeared again. This time, he wasn't sitting in his usual position. Instead, he stood as though ready to address them directly. His uniform was the same, but there was a different energy around him. His presence was calm, yet it carried authority. "This is Captain Derek Vance of the Starfire," he began. His voice echoed through the room, clear and confident. "We've come to open a dialogue. We wish no conflict." The commander studied him carefully. There was no fear in his eyes. There was no hint of deceit. He truly seemed to be offering peace, but the reality was, the humans were strangers, unknown and unpredictable. "You've entered a restricted area of our sector," the commander replied, her tone firm but measured. "We cannot ignore such an intrusion. What are your intentions here, Captain Vance?" For a moment, Captain Vance was silent, as if considering his words carefully. Then his expression softened slightly, though his eyes remained focused. "Our intentions are simple," he said. "We want to talk. We are aware of your strength, but we're not here to test it. We've come because we believe the galaxy can be more than just a series of divided sectors. The humans, we have much to offer." The commander's brow furrowed. "Offer? You think you can just stroll into our sector and expect to be welcomed?" The human captain didn't flinch. "I'm not asking for a welcome, just a conversation. The galaxy is changing. Humanity has changed. We've reached out, and we hope you'll listen. But if not, we will leave." For a brief moment, there was silence. The commander exchanged glances with her officers. They too were unsure of what to make of this. It was unlike anything they had ever encountered. "You expect us to believe this? This offer of peace?" The commander's voice had a sharp edge, but she didn't want to show weakness. Captain Vance nodded. "You don't have to believe us. But if you let us speak, you'll understand. If you still feel threatened, we will leave. No harm done." The commander paused, weighing her options. She had no idea what to make of the humans, but she couldn't deny their calm confidence. Maybe, just maybe, they deserved a chance. After a long moment, she spoke. "Very well, Captain Vance. We'll hear you." After the brief communication, the commander called for an immediate war council. The meeting room was dimly lit, with a large table at the center surrounded by the highest-ranking officers of the fleet. The commander sat at the head, her hands folded in front of her. Her mind was still racing after the conversation with Captain Vance. "We are not facing a typical threat," the commander said, her voice steady but filled with concern. "The humans have shown no signs of aggression. They seem calm, but their ship is unlike anything we've ever seen. How did they acquire such technology?" Zarn, her chief officer, stood beside her, holding a datapad. "Our scans show they've mastered propulsion systems that allow them to travel faster than any ship in our fleet. Their weapons are powerful, and their shields seem to be made of materials we've never encountered." The commander frowned, her brow furrowed. "And yet they claim to come in peace. What do we know about them?" The room fell silent. Each officer was deep in thought, trying to piece together the puzzle. The humans had been isolated for centuries. There had been no major reports of any significant technological advances from their kind. But this was different. "We know they've been quiet for a long time," said General Zoreth, an older officer with years of experience. "They've kept to their own planet. They've never been a threat. But now they come here, claiming to have changed." The commander stood, pacing slowly. "This is why I'm cautious. If they've somehow managed to unlock secrets of technology beyond their grasp, they might be more dangerous than we think. What if they intend to take control of the sector?" Zarn hesitated before speaking again. "It could be a trick, Commander. They might be waiting for the right moment to strike, or perhaps they are preparing to ally with someone else." The commander paused, considering his words. The humans were unpredictable, but there was no evidence to suggest they were lying. The way Captain Vance spoke, calm, measured, and without fear, felt too deliberate to be the act of someone trying to deceive them. "We need to know more," she said firmly. "We cannot afford to let them gain any ground here without fully understanding their motives. I want a small delegation sent to their ship, and I will accompany them." There was a murmur of surprise around the table. The commander had never personally chosen to make such a bold move before. It was risky, but it was the only way to learn the truth. If the humans were truly offering peace, then this was the only chance to verify it. "I'll lead the delegation myself," she continued, locking eyes with her officers. "We'll meet them halfway, and I want to hear everything from their captain. If they are truly what they claim, then this galaxy will never be the same." General Zoreth nodded. "We trust your judgment, Commander." The room was filled with silent agreement. The decision had been made. The commander's mind was set. She had to face the humans head-on and find out whether they were a new ally or a new threat. The delegation moved slowly through space, each ship in the small fleet maintaining a careful formation around the command vessel. The alien ships were powerful, but the human ship, the Starfire, stood out like a dark shadow on the horizon. Its sleek design and strange energy pulsed with unfamiliar power. The commander could feel her heart race as they drew closer. "We'll make contact with them as planned," the commander said, standing at the front of her ship, watching the Starfire grow larger on the view screen. Her officers stood behind her, all waiting for her lead. "This is uncharted territory, Commander," Zarn said quietly, standing beside her. "The humans are more powerful than we anticipated. Their ship, It's beyond what we thought they could create." The commander nodded, her thoughts a mixture of caution and curiosity. It was clear that the humans had something to prove. This wasn't just a diplomatic mission. Captain Vance had made it clear that they wanted to demonstrate something important. "Let's see if they live up to their words," the commander replied, her voice firm. She knew that what happened next would shape the future of their sector. If the humans truly had mastered technology beyond their understanding, it could mean big changes for the galaxy. As they approached, the Starfire suddenly sent out a message. "We have a proposal." Captain Vance's voice echoed through the communication channel. "We're prepared to demonstrate the power of our ship, but we ask for one thing in return: a demonstration of your strength, a simple test, to prove that we're equals." The commander blinked in surprise. "A test of strength? What do they mean?" Captain Vance didn't specify, Zarn replied, clearly puzzled. "But it seems like they want to show off their power. And in return, they want to see if we can match it." A part of the commander felt a rush of anger. She wasn't interested in being tested by humans, but another part of her realized this was more than just a show of force. This was an opportunity. If they passed the test, it would send a clear message to the humans that they were not weak or easily intimidated. "I'm not backing down," the commander said decisively. "We'll accept their challenge. But we do it on our terms." As soon as the words left her mouth, the alien ships powered up their engines, preparing to engage in the demonstration. The commander's ship surged forward, closing the gap between the fleet and the human vessel. The atmosphere in the command center was tense. Everyone waited for what would happen next. Moments later, the human ship released a series of small drones into space. They zipped and zoomed around at incredible speeds, performing complex maneuvers that left the alien fleet in awe. The drones seemed to defy the laws of physics, making impossible turns and speeds. "We're seeing technology we've never even imagined," Zarn said in a hushed tone, eyes wide with disbelief. "This isn't just a test, it's a declaration." The drones continued their display, moving with such precision that the alien ships struggled to keep up. It was clear now that the humans had far more advanced technology than anyone could have guessed. The test had begun, and it wasn't just about strength. It was about proving that the humans were a force to be reckoned with. The commander watched in silence, absorbing the full impact of the human display. There was no denying it now. Humanity had arrived, and they were not what the galaxy had expected. The commander watched the human drones weave in and out of the stars, their movements almost too fast to track. The display was unlike anything they had ever seen. For a moment, she couldn't help but feel a sense of awe at the humans' technology. But that feeling was quickly replaced by suspicion. Was this a show of strength, or was it something more? "We can't let them think we're afraid," the commander said, her voice low but firm. "Prepare our ships. We'll show them that we're not easily impressed." Zarn, her chief officer, hesitated for a moment. "Commander, their technology is far beyond ours. Are we sure we want to challenge them directly?" The commander's gaze remained locked on the Starfire. She could feel the weight of the decision pressing down on her. The humans had shown their power, but it was important to prove that the alien fleet wasn't weak. She couldn't back down now. "They've shown their strength, and now we'll show them ours," the commander said. "We won't back down, but we won't attack unless provoked." As the alien fleet prepared to engage, the human ship suddenly powered down its drones. The sudden silence was almost eerie. Captain Vance's voice came through the communication channel once again, calm and unshaken. "You've seen our technology," he said. "Now we ask you to prove your own strength. A simple test, nothing more. We're not here to fight. We're here to understand." The commander's eyes narrowed. "Understand what?" she demanded. "Understand that humanity is no longer what it once was," Captain Vance replied. "We've come a long way, but we're not here to conquer. We just want to talk. If we pass this test, we hope you'll listen." The commander hesitated. It wasn't what she expected. They were offering peace, but at the same time, they were forcing her hand. This test was about more than just technology. It was a challenge to their pride. A challenge that no one in the fleet had ever faced before. "What do you want from us?" the commander asked. "A show of strength," Captain Vance responded. "Nothing too extreme. We'll let you choose how you want to demonstrate it. We just want to know if you're willing to work with us." The alien fleet commander took a deep breath. This was it. If they accepted this challenge and failed, it could mean disaster for their reputation across the galaxy. But if they succeeded, it could open the door to something bigger, something that could change everything. "Very well," the commander said finally. "We will accept your challenge. But know this, if this is a trick, you will regret it." The human captain smiled slightly. "No trick, Commander. Just a conversation." The alien fleet moved into position, the ships aligning with a precision that showed their own strength and expertise. As they prepared to meet the challenge, the commander couldn't help but wonder what would happen next. Could the humans truly be allies, or were they merely testing the waters for something more dangerous? The alien fleet moved into position, their ships lined up in perfect formation. The commander stood at the front of her ship, eyes focused on the human vessel ahead. There was no going back now. This was their chance to either prove their strength or face the consequences of showing weakness. The stakes were higher than ever. The Starfire had powered down its drones, and now the space between the two fleets seemed to stretch on forever. It was as though the entire galaxy held its breath in anticipation of what would happen next. The human ship sent a signal across the communication channel. "We're ready, Commander." Captain Vance's voice came through, calm and controlled as always. "We'll begin our demonstration now." The commander's grip tightened on the armrest of her chair. This was the moment. She glanced at her officers. Zarn was at her side, his expression tense but alert. "Prepare for the demonstration," she ordered, her voice steady. She needed to keep her composure, but beneath the surface, there was a storm of questions and concerns. Without warning, the Starfire's engines flared to life, and the ship surged forward at incredible speed. It was too fast, faster than anything the alien fleet had ever seen. In the blink of an eye, the human ship was in front of the lead alien vessel, as though it had teleported there. The alien ships tried to adjust, but they were no match for the sheer speed and maneuverability of the Starfire. The commander's eyes widened. She had never seen anything like this before. "What is this?" she whispered. "How are they doing this?" Zarn quickly accessed the data feeds. "Commander, it's using a form of propulsion we've never encountered. This is beyond anything we thought the humans were capable of." The Starfire continued to move with impossible agility, darting through the space between the alien ships like a shadow. It was as if the human ship were toying with them, showing them just how far ahead it was in terms of technology. Then, suddenly, the ship stopped. The commander's heart skipped a beat. A loud hum filled the communication channel, followed by a sharp voice from Captain Vance. "We're not just here to show you our strength," he said. "We're here to offer you something more, something you cannot ignore." The commander frowned, unsure of what to make of the sudden shift in tone. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice steady but filled with curiosity. There was a pause before Captain Vance replied. "We've come because we believe that humanity can help bring balance to the galaxy, but it's not just technology that we have to offer." He paused again, and when he spoke next, his voice was more serious than before. "We've uncovered something ancient, a power that could change everything." The commander felt a chill run down her spine. The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her voice sharp with suspicion. "The truth about how humanity has advanced," Captain Vance replied. "We didn't get here alone. We made contact with an ancient race, one that's been lost to time. Their knowledge, their power, we've only begun to understand what it means. But we're willing to share it with you, if you're ready to listen." The commander stood still, her mind reeling. The humans weren't just powerful. They had access to knowledge beyond anything the galaxy had ever known. And now, they were offering it. The question was, could she trust them? The commander stood frozen as Captain Vance's words echoed in her mind. An ancient race, power beyond anything she had ever imagined. It was difficult to believe, yet the confidence in his voice was undeniable. She had spent her life learning about the galaxy's most powerful civilizations, and now she was being told that humanity had something even more incredible than any of them. Commander. Zarn's voice broke through her thoughts. What should we do? This is unprecedented. The commander's hands clenched into fists. She didn't want to trust the humans, not yet. But the evidence was in front of her. Their technology, their speed, and now this revelation about an ancient power. Humanity wasn't just a small player in the galaxy anymore. They had something the aliens had overlooked. She took a deep breath. Prepare for a meeting with Captain Vance. I'll hear him out. If what he says is true, this could change everything. Zarn hesitated for a moment before nodding. Understood, Commander. The alien fleet slowly moved into position around the Starfire as the commander's ship approached the human vessel. There was no turning back now. It was clear the humans were offering something big, something that could either lead to a dangerous alliance or give them the upper hand in the galaxy. But whatever the truth was, the commander couldn't ignore the opportunity to learn more. The communication channel opened, and once again, Captain Vance's face appeared on the screen. He didn't look like a conqueror, but there was a certain weight to his presence now, as if the truth had shifted the entire conversation. Commander, Captain Vance greeted her with a steady voice. I understand you must be confused. This is a lot to take in. The commander studied him carefully, trying to find any sign of deception. But all she saw was sincerity. She had learned to read others' emotions, and she didn't see any hint of lies in his eyes. Still, she had to be cautious. You're asking us to believe that you've made contact with an ancient race, that your technology and power come from them, she asked, her voice steady but filled with disbelief. Vance nodded, his expression serious. That's exactly what I'm saying. But we didn't just take their power. We've learned from them. We've grown, and we believe that with your help, we can unlock even more of what the universe has to offer. The commander's mind raced. Could this really be possible? Could humanity be on the brink of something far greater than anything the galaxy had ever known? Why come to us? She asked, her voice quieter now. Why offer this power to us? Captain Vance's expression softened. Because we believe in unity. Humanity has been divided for so long, but we've seen the damage caused by isolation. The galaxy doesn't have to be divided. We want to build something stronger together, and we need allies. We need you. The words hit the commander harder than she expected. Could this be real? Could humanity truly be offering an alliance based on peace and shared growth, rather than conquest? I'll admit, the commander said, I've underestimated you. I thought humanity was just a small, isolated species. But now, I see there's much more to you than I imagined. Captain Vance smiled. We're just getting started. The commander nodded slowly, her decision clear. Let's begin. Together, we can reshape the future of this galaxy. The news of the unexpected alliance between the humans and the aliens spread like wildfire across the galaxy. It was a moment no one had expected. Humanity, once seen as a small, isolated species, had now shown its strength and wisdom. And with it, they had earned the trust of one of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. But there was one last challenge, the galaxy itself. The commander stood on the bridge of her ship, looking out at the vast emptiness of space. Her thoughts were heavy with what had just happened. The decision to ally with humanity had been made, but now they had to prove their worth. There were others out there, other powerful races who would never accept this alliance without testing it. The humans' technology, despite its power, was still unproven in the eyes of many. We need to prove ourselves, the commander said, her voice serious. Zarn, her chief officer, nodded. Yes, Commander. We can't afford to appear weak now. There will be forces that challenge this alliance, and we must be ready. The commander's gaze hardened. Then we'll show them what we're capable of. This is our chance to prove not just to the galaxy, but to ourselves that this alliance is worth it. It wasn't long before the warning came. A fleet of ships, unlike any the humans or aliens had seen before, appeared on the scanners. They were fast, powerful, and clearly designed for war. The ships were from the remnants of the old galactic empire, an empire that had once ruled the stars, but now sought to reclaim its former glory. They're here, Zarn said, his voice filled with urgency. They know about the alliance. They want to test it. The commander's heart sank. The remnants of the old empire were known for their ruthlessness. If they challenged the humans, this would be the ultimate test of the new alliance. Prepare for battle, the commander ordered. We fight together. The alien fleet, now united with the human warship, moved into formation. The Starfire, still gleaming with its advanced technology, stood at the front of the fleet. The commander looked over at Captain Vance, who had joined them for the mission. This is it, Captain Vance said, his voice calm but filled with determination. No turning back now. The first shots were fired. The remnants of the Empire attacked with all their might, launching wave after wave of energy blasts. The alien ships returned fire, their weapons clashing against the enemy's shields with a bright flash. The Starfire moved through the battlefield like a ghost, its speed unmatched. It dodged and weaved, launching powerful counterattacks that struck fear into the hearts of their enemies. For the first time, the commander felt true pride in her fleet. The humans fought with the same intensity as the aliens. Together, they were unstoppable. The battle raged on, each side taking heavy losses. But with every moment, it became clearer that the humans weren't just powerful, they were resourceful. Captain Vance's crew worked in perfect harmony with the alien fleet, using their advanced technology to outmaneuver the enemy. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the remnants of the Empire's fleet began to retreat. The alliance had proven its strength. The commander stood, her chest heaving with relief. "We did it," she whispered. Captain Vance gave her a small, triumphant smile. Together, the new alliance had passed its first test, and the galaxy would never be the same. The stars above were calm once again. The remnants of the old galactic empire had retreated, leaving behind only the echoes of their defeat. The battle had been fierce, but the alliance between the humans and the alien fleet had proven stronger. Now, as the dust settled, the commander stood on the bridge of her ship, staring out into the vast expanse of space. For the first time in her life, she felt a true sense of hope. "This is just the beginning," she murmured, her eyes reflecting the stars. The victory over the Empire had been hard-won, but it was only a glimpse of what could come next. They had proven themselves. Now, the galaxy would be watching, waiting to see how this new alliance would shape the future. Beside her, Captain Vance stepped forward. He was calm, just like always, but there was a quiet pride in his expression. "We've made a powerful statement today," he said, "but this is just the first step." The commander nodded. "Yes, there's much more to be done. This is a new era, one where humans and aliens stand together, not as separate powers, but as a united force." The human warship Starfire had become a symbol of that unity, and as the alien fleet powered down, the commander couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in what they had accomplished. They had faced their enemies, fought side by side with the humans, and emerged victorious. The galaxy had just witnessed a new chapter in its history. But the work wasn't over. There were still questions to answer, challenges to face. The remnants of the old empire would regroup, and other powers might rise to take their place. But the commander knew one thing for sure. The alliance had proven itself strong, and they would face whatever came next together. "We'll need to rebuild," she said, turning to face Vance. "But we've shown the galaxy that we're not to be underestimated. Together, We're unstoppable. Vance smiled, his eyes gleaming with determination. We've just begun, Commander. The future is wide open. For the first time, the commander truly believed him. The humans were no longer just a curious species in the galaxy. They had shown their strength, their courage, and their willingness to unite with others. The galaxy would never look at them the same way again. As the Starfire and the alien fleet moved into a new formation, the commander felt a sense of peace settle over her. They had been through so much together: strange technologies, fierce battles, and difficult decisions. But in the end, they had proven one simple truth: when united, there was no enemy they couldn't face. The new alliance was more than just a partnership. It was the beginning of a new era for the galaxy. The commander glanced over at Captain Vance, her ally and friend. "Let's make sure we build something worth fighting for," she said. Vance nodded, his eyes filled with the same resolve. "Together, we will." And with that, the two of them looked ahead, ready to face the future and embrace the unknown, knowing that whatever came next, they would face it as allies, together.